Today, I would like to talk about the fifth dimensional paradise of Venus and the law of cause and effect. It is the 32nd round. The ether world is 2 steps higher than the third dimensional material world, and all the things in the material world exist there. Venus is now the dreamland or the paradise society of the fifth dimension, and the residents there can make all the things at once, and they can fly to any place instantly. The action and reaction of the cause and effect is the universal, absolute, as well as the unchangeable law, and the virtuous, as well as the altruistic activity, is the one which makes it possible to accumulate some good karma. Well, let's continue to talk about what I mentioned last week. In this book, From Venus I Came, there is an explanation on the real face and situation of the Venus, which is in the fifth dimensional world, the ether environment. I think that this Venus world is just like just the ideal paradise which the future Earth will enter. Let's read the page from 149 to 152 of this book. The astral world existed far before the material world was made, and it will continue to exist longer than the material world. The most common things which people have known and recognized have existed earlier in this astral world than the things in the material world. There are many things which are not in the material world, as a matter of course, and there is a symmetry relationship between the astral world and the material world. That is, in the astral or ether world, there are just the same things of the material world. Furthermore, there are more things in the astral or ether world than the material world. In order to understand the difference between the astral world and the material one, you need to have some explanation. As the X-ray exists in the higher frequency than that of the hard rock, so the astral world is in the higher frequency than that of the material world. And this fact is the very reason why the scientists of the earth cannot find and ascertain the astral world. The astral world is made up of high frequency, which cannot be perceived with any scientific apparatus of the earth. As the frequency of the astral things is so high that the residents in that world can control those things completely with their mind power. There are few persons who have developed this sort of mind-controlling ability on the earth. However, it is their daily life way to control material with their mind in Venus. The residents in the astral world can make imaginary things with only their mind power. As the gravitation is the basic law which is adapted to the material planets in the third dimensional world, so this sort of making things with the spiritual power capability is a sort of natural law here, law there. As a matter of fact, they can turn the energy around them into material which they want to mold in the shape which they want to see. Therefore, wherever we concentrate, there appears the object of our creation. Thanks to the mental procedure that we learned when we were young, we can create house, clothes, furniture, trees, food, jewel, and nearly anything that we can imagine. However, there's a limit in this ability, namely, once this sort of thing is created, we cannot destroy it or turn it into energy. Except the things which have been created for using for a limited time, like a castle, a big pasture, or a created play which is made with all one's heart, all the created things do not disappear. As far as the person who created it does not leave the astral world. When I get bored with the newly created doll, I can transform it into a different shape. But with my negative thought, I cannot make it disappear instantly or infinitely. As our thought makes material, all the things we come in contact with every day are vivid and real. A floor made of marble stone just looks like as well as feels like marble, skin, and water. Flowers keep up aroma like the flowers on the earth, and honey tastes sweet. It is very easy to move things to other places as a matter of course, which is the problem of choice and thought. We can have a cup rise up and stay in the air with our own will. Furthermore, when we have a big sofa lifted in the air, we do not need much power than the situation in which we shake a bed. It is easy to travel here and there too. Those who prefer to walk do so, walking here and there. With the skill of levitation, we can stay in the air and we can ski down instead of walking. When we want to go to a far place, we use the traveling with the thought skill, and so we can reach a destination instantly with the speed of thought. The shape of the astral body is quite similar to the third dimensional body, and the difference is that the astral body is much more beautiful than the real body. An astral body is not simple lump light, but it is a sort of living bio-light, which receives light and energy from the around space. We don't have any digestive organ, but we eat food due to the simple habit and fun. What's more surprising is the fact that as soon as we eat food, the food turns into energy at once. How useful it is! With the power of mind, we can remodel our face and we can disappear completely. The reason why the people who enter this astral world for the first time call this world heaven is that they do not have any bodily fatigue or agony there. It is nearly impossible to describe well the intricate shade of color or the astral world in our daily life. In comparison with the twinkling and vivid color of the astral world, the color of the third dimensional material world is no more appropriate word than the world of blur, dark, and unclear. Furthermore, lots of colors, the existence of which we regard as a matter of course, do not exist in the third dimensional material world. Well, I mentioned the astral civilization of Venus, and this book has more surprising facts. I think that the inside world of the earth I introduced early, or the Venus civilization I mentioned here, is the utopia itself, which most of the religions have dreamed for a long time. When I read the other pages of this book, I understood that those who begin to live in the fifth dimensional world are apt to regard the astral world to be the final heaven or ideal world, and they usually are prone to cling to it. However, it is said that the universe is not so simple, but it has the sixth and seventh higher dimensional world over its fifth dimensional astral or ether world. In other words, the universe has the infinite, unimaginable world waiting for us who wishes to advance higher and higher infinitely. Well, let's look at the following picture. This is the city of Teutonia, situated in Venus. It is an imaginary picture written in the book From Venus I Came. 나는 금성에서 왔다. This book. On the page 164. Well, up till now, we have considered the fifth dimensional world, namely the heavenly world or the heaven on the earth, which will begin to open after the year 2012. Next, let's see about the so-called most fundamental law of the universe, the law of cause and effect, 인과응보 in Korean, 인과응보. Considering this topic, I think it is good to listen to late Mr. Bakchano, the most excellent researcher of the spirit world in Korea. The next contents are from the homepage of his publishing company, http ufogalaxy.co.kr. The explanation column is question and answer in this homepage. The concept of karma, namely up or cause and effect, is not the concept involved in Buddhism only. It is the ideology of Hinduism or the old Egypt or Persia or old Greek or old Judea. And in these countries of the old ages, it was the common and prevalent religious concept. Therefore, it was not the first idea which was explained by Buddha. Before his explanation, this idea was explained by lots of light messengers and holy saints in common, because this idea was the cosmic common law or principle. Even the aliens or ETs, extraterrestrials, ETs, are not free from this law. The other name of this law is the law of boomerang, or the law of action and reaction. Jesus Christ taught the concepts of cause and effect like the following verse. Those who rise with sword will be bankrupt with sword, or man will harvest just as he sowed. The problem is that the descendants do not understand what he really meant, or they understand those sentences with distorting comprehension. The law or karma is not any superstition, but it is a very rational and scientific principle. Therefore, all of the enlightened masters had the people who are ignorant of this law of the universe understand the fact that if they do anything without regard to other people, they can be harmed due to the law of action and reaction of the karma. On the other point of view, the law of karma is the principle which forces people to take responsibility of what he does, and so it is a sort of guide in developing their own spirits. Those who understand the law of karma cannot do any deed without the result of responsibility. Of course, they cannot have any sinful activity. Rather, they may turn their attitude toward some good deed or any activity of service. Usually, I tell my intimate persons, if all of the institutions of education teach children the law of karma or law of cause and effect from their kindergarten or elementary school days, there cannot exist crime or war on the earth, and the earth will turn into the heaven or heaven at once. Yes, man commits any crime or live a self-centered or selfish life because of the ignorance of this law of the universe. However, when he or she lives an altruistic, serviceable life of good intention, this sort of activity adds to the good karma, hence adding to the energy volume, conferring fortune on him sooner or later. Then let's look at the following picture. This is Mrs. Onek's photo, which was taken when she was young.